Good evening and welcome to USC Update. I'm Destini Austin.
And I'm Parker Lambert. Here are tonight's top stories. A group of researchers in Cambodia have created what they call the most destructive and dangerous whip known to man. Coincidentally, the most destructive and dangerous whip known to man is also the name of whatever object my dad is holding when he comes home belligerent at 4 in the morning.
This past Sunday, in a victory for those in favor of marriage equality everywhere, Switzerland voted by a 2/3 majority to legalize same-sex marriage. However, in keeping with their tradition of remaining neutral, Switzerland repealed it a few hours later.
The EU has ruled that Apple must switch to USB-C ports. In response to this, Tim Cook says that the EU is being blind-phobic, stating that they didn't think about those who are, quote, USB unable to see.
Data recently released from the FBI reports that the amount of murders nationwide has increased by 30%, from 2019 to 2020, which some experts are calling an unprecedented amount. But when I think about the troubling times we live in, all I can think is, I hope I'm next. The president of France, Emmanuel Macron, had an egg thrown at him by a protester recently. I guess you could say after that he had some serious egg on his face.
After the egg was thrown, the president's bodyguards were sent into a scramble.
Yeah, I bet the protester really thought of himself as a judge, jury, and executioner.
Recently, a train derailed in Montana, killing 3 people and injuring 50 others. Luckily for the people who died, their death wasn't in vain, because this will be the only remotely interesting thing to happen in Montana for the next 50 years.
A study recently came out from the National Institute of Aging that details possible signs that could predict whether or not you have dementia. When asked what the signs are, the officials unfortunately could not remember.
Pfizer recently announced that it will be testing out a pill that could potentially prevent transmission of COVID-19. Finally, a morning after pill that I won't have to convince my girlfriend to take.
With Halloween coming up in just about a month, many are wondering if it will be okay for kids to go trick-or-treating. I certainly hope so, said the CDC director, Raquel Walensky, as well as pedophiles everywhere.
Republican Congress members are currently in talks to filibuster a Senate bill proposed by the Democrats, forcing the government to shut down. Isn't this like the 10th time the government has shut down in the past 2 years or something like that? I swear the government shuts down more often than my uncle's liver.
This filibuster will also stop the Senate from raising the government's debt. Never have a group of old white people been more against raising the roof. A salmonella outbreak from a currently unknown food source has resulted in salmonella cases in 29 different states, making the food source the most infectious vector this country has seen, second only to my ex-boyfriend.
The British people are causing a petrol supply crisis with cars spilling out onto the highway in high demand of petrol. The government is deliberating on a solution to this issue. However, the government is too stupid to realize that cars actually run on gasoline.
Tesla has begun to allow more of its customers access to its full self-driving software. The software in question, however, would require users to pass an assessment of their driving skills. The driver will also still have and maintain control of the car while driving. So it's just like driving any other damn car.
Mark Zuckerberg has paused his plans to make an Instagram for kids. Zuckerberg said in a press conference, "I blame my shareholders. They just have to ruin everything. All I wanted in life was to create a platform where I could go and admire pictures of children."
The DEA has recently warned of an increase in the peddling of the fake prescription drugs laced with fentanyl, advising the public to especially be cautious when buying illicit drugs. The DEA also advises that anyone who knows of any possible sources of these drugs laced with fentanyl should let me know immediately.
The United States says it's working on a contingency plan in case Iran continues its nuclear program without talks. Holy shit! The Iranian nuclear crisis was so good they had to make a second one. We can only pray that this time it results in the downfall of humanity through nuclear annihilation.
The cast for an upcoming movie, Mario, was announced with the likes of Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jack Black, Charlie Day, and more starring. This has got to be the most bizarre cast possible for any movie concerning Mario, but at the same time is oddly appropriate because the cast director was probably on shrooms.
A woman was arrested a few days ago for suspected arson after being found near the scene of a raging California fawn fire with a lighter in her pocket. Now, I'm not going to argue about whether she's innocent or guilty, but if you can just get arrested for having a suspicious item in your pants, then I should have been arrested a long time ago.
La Palma, a volcano located in the Canary Islands, recently erupted, with its eruption causing a possible poisonous gas issue, according to the local authorities. Finally, other people can experience walking over the steam tunnels on USC's campus.
Well, that's all we have for tonight. This has been USC Update. I'm Parker Lambert.
And I'm Destini Austin. Thank you and good night.